Welcome back to the Journeys in Business series. I'm Jess, owner of Jess Creatives, and in this series, I'm sitting down with entrepreneurs to hear about their journeys in business and lessons they have learned. Hey, Sunny, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so to kick us off, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do?
So I'm Lenarduzzi, and I do social media and video marketing. I had a consultancy and an agency for about 5 years. And then about 2 years ago, I started using YouTube, kind of fell into it backwards, and it changed my business. And video content on all my social platforms really changed my business. And I went from having a consultancy and doing one-to-one client work to creating programs and courses and doing speaking engagements. And my business model has just shifted pretty drastically in the last 2 years to create a lot more freedom as well as a lot more structure in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. So were you trying to go from consultancy to not consultancy?
No, no, it's so funny. I remember, so the way that I started, I'll give some context to how I even started on YouTube. So my background's in broadcasting, and so it always sort of was like a natural fit that I should be doing video. But I was a traditional reporter. I worked in television, and I also worked in radio. And then I just fell in love with the online space. And so I created an online magazine. That was my first business venture when I was about 21. And I built the entire thing organically through social media. And it was my first time ever having a Twitter account, ever using Facebook for business. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh, there's so many possibilities here, and media is changing so much. And through building that brand, I had all of these clients come out of the woodwork because no one was really using social media for business at the time. And so all of these people were like, how are you doing this? And can you do it for us? So I started getting these clients through word of mouth, and I was totally satisfied with that because I was kind of full up to here with client work. And I was working completely solo. And then fast forward about four or 5 years, it got to the point with my clients that they were all asking the same questions over and over again about how to use social media and video marketing and the different things and techniques that I was doing. And so I kept answering one-on-one with them, and it was wasting so much of my time, and I was just feeling really burnt out. So I was like, you know what, I should start answering these questions on videos. So I made my first tutorial on how to use Periscope, which is a live streaming app, and I sent it to my clients and had 1,000 views within a week. And I had no subscribers on YouTube at the time. I never used my channel, and all of a sudden that turned into 80,000 subscribers or 80,000 views on that video. And I was trying to figure out how this happened because I only shared it with my clients, and I realized that people were finding me through search. So I was like, okay, well, I'll keep making these tutorials because obviously there's a need for them, and it's easier for me to do this than having to answer people one-on-one. And through that, my channel just grew so fast because I was ranking on the first page for all these different results related to social media and video marketing. So my subscriber base grew really fast. And then if you look at my first couple of videos, it makes me laugh because some of them are 15, 20 minutes long, and they're courses. I'm literally walking people through every single step of how to do these things, which is great. And I didn't even know that courses were a thing at that time. I didn't even know that you could create digital products. I'd never heard of that. And I just was kind of doing my thing with my consultancy, and I was like, cool, I'm getting all this brand exposure, and people are wanting to work with me. The reality is, unless you have a big team and you want to build out an actual agency, you hit a max, and you know this with client work.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out a way to scale the business. So the first thing I did was look at online courses, and I created my first course totally on my own. And it was a doozy. It was a nightmare because we used a platform that was just awful, and it was so hard to figure out. And Ayla was with me at the time, and she had just started working with me, who's now my COO. And I remember we had nights where we were just crying because we're like, we can't figure this out. We've hit our breaking point. But once we got past that hurdle, we realized that doing a course and launching a course is a really great way to scale the business.
Yeah.
So never in a million years did I plan on this, but it has been the best thing I've ever done for my business, and also just for the growth of me as a person, and also the growth of my business and my team. So I'm really grateful I kind of fell into the videos.
Yeah. So did you just slowly kind of end your contracts with your your consultancy
Yeah.
clients, or how did you like phase that out?
It was an interesting process because I wasn't really sure how I was going to do it. And I was kind of okay with having both for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. And then it just got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing both.
Yeah.
So I have one client left, and he's awesome. And he was actually one of my first clients ever. So I've had him for close to 6 years now, which is crazy. And it's so easy that I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's okay. And I don't manage his account anymore. Ayla does, but so I just don't really want to end that one. But
Yeah.
that's more personal preference. With everybody else, what I started doing was changing their contracts to kind of in perpetuity, meaning that we'd be working together forever, to 3-month contracts. So that if we needed to get out of it on either side, then we could after 3 months. And just at this point, it doesn't make sense to have clients because the programs are what I'm putting my focus into, and that's generating more revenue for me. So yeah, it just sort of naturally took care of itself, which I'm a big believer in. I just think like once you kind of pivot and you put your mind into something, then everything else that's not meant to be there will kind of fall away. And that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite part about what you do?
The community that we've built. I'm just like, it honestly blows me away. And I'm so grateful every day that, because the Be Your Own Boss brand too, like so how that kind of came to be was, we were rebranding my YouTube channel because it was me and like a webcam for basically a year, which is a great way to start. Like you don't have to break the bank to make YouTube channels and grow really fast. But I just got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe I should start like putting in a little more effort. If I had like 50,000 subscribers, and I was like, maybe I should start like adding a little something special to these. So we did a total rebrand, and I was like, we need a tagline. And so we were playing around with the whole idea, and I really like, playing off of my name. And I do think my name suits me and my personality. And so I was like, let's do it like the bright side. So the bright side of business branding. And the original tagline was being a badass. And then I was like, being a boss, being your own boss. And I just kind of played with that. I was like, being your own boss. Oh, I love that. And then we were launching Boss Video Branding. And then we created the group, Be Your Own Boss, and it just like took off. And now we have a swag line. I'm wearing one of the sweatshirts right now around Be Your Own Boss. And it's this like self-sustaining ecosystem of entrepreneurs from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love that, like, I don't even have to be in there every day, and it's not dependent on me. It's all of these people really genuinely want to help one another, and everybody is so driven to grow that it's just such a positive environment and space. So yeah, I'm most excited and I'm most grateful. And I think I've been asked what's my biggest accomplishment, and like I've done some pretty rad things and spoken on some amazing stages and hit some great milestones, but nothing I don't think will ever compare to the fact that I built a community of people that are global. Like if people are from everywhere, and they're all really awesome entrepreneurs or on their way to being entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that was really cool. So I'm a part of Sunny's Boss Video Branding course, and we have our own Facebook group. And then we got to go to a live workshop a few months ago, and it was really cool to see a room full of entrepreneurs that were from all over the place, but like all different ages and all different industries. Like I was totally expecting just the typical like other 20, 30 something entrepreneurs, like, and then I was like, whoa, like there are people from all over, they're all doing different things. And that was really cool to see. Like, I think there's like people that own like restaurants and bakeries. And I was like, what? Like they're using, like, that's so cool. Cause I can't think of anybody like local, bakeries and restaurants who are using YouTube.
Totally.
And I was just like, this is so cool. Like, I love that this community is so diverse, and like, we were all just like so excited to be there. And like, and that shows in the Facebook, like the Be Your Own Boss mastermind group too, like just so much help and like community and people. I really love, especially like around YouTube, there's a lot of like growing your subscribers, and people in your group are not like sub for sub and like there's none of that. Like it's all very much like, what do I use? Like, how do I do this? Like,
and actual tactical advice, which I think is really important. And that's something that I've noticed too. And I think that's part of the reason I'm just so grateful for it, is that it's like the diversity is what makes it, because I learn so much from people who don't sell services, because I sell services, but sell products instead. And a person who sells products is going to learn something from a freelancer. Like, everybody who's in this space and in this game of like trying to build their dream business, you're learning something new every minute of every day. And so, and that is part of the reason I created the group. I was looking at other groups for so long, and like, I love Kimberly Luna. I think she's incredible. And I love her Freedom Hackers group. And I was like, I want to create something like this for like my community. And part of the reason is that I worked on my own for so long. And I know a lot of the time that you work on your own, and a lot of us do. And it can be so lonely, and you can get so stuck in your head, and you don't have people to ask for help. And sometimes it feels like you're totally doing this on your own. So yeah, part of the motivation behind creating that group was that I wanted to create sort of like a digital co-working space where we all could ask questions when we needed help, and go there for motivation when we're feeling uninspired or burnt out. And that's what it's become. And it's just, yeah, it's my favorite thing that I do. Like, it doesn't make me any money, but it's my favorite thing that I do. And that's the thing. Like, and I think that the funny thing is, like, when people are like, well, how'd you build your business? Like, how'd you get to where you are? And it sounds weird to say this, and probably a little bit ignorant, but I just have never made money my first priority. Of course you need it, but, and like, yeah, as a business, you need to make money, of course, but it's never been my driving force. And I feel like that's been a big key to my success. And like, even how I started my YouTube channel, I was just like, I just want to help people and give away free information. So I'm going to give it all away and start it on Flatter. And I still operate that way. Like, if people ask a question, I'm pretty transparent about what I do, how I do it, and how I got here, because there's room for everybody. And yeah, everyone can do their own thing. Everyone can be their own boss. And the thing about the Be Your Own Boss community too is, like, there's a lot of people in there who haven't started their own businesses, but maybe you're thinking about it. And part of the motivation behind Be Your Own Boss too, and like how I think about it, is it really is for everybody. Like, that ethos of Be Your Own Boss is for entrepreneurs as well as employees. And it is for anybody who's the CEO of their life and is making decisions in their life with intention, and knows and has a vision of like how they want to leave a legacy for their life. And that's what Be Your Own Boss means to me. It doesn't mean you have to have your own business or be an entrepreneur. It just means that you are making decisions like you're the CEO.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So you've kind of touched on this, but you said money is not the driving force. So what does drive you? What drives you to get out of bed every morning?
Legacy. That really is what drives me to get out of bed every day. And I think that stems from my parents. And I talk about my parents a lot. I feel like everybody knows who they are now and stuff, but I feel like my whole family's like that, which is kind of funny. And Ayla. But yeah, my parents, my dad has been a professional athlete his whole life. And he now is the president of the Whitecaps in Vancouver. It's an MLS team. And just like the legacy that he's built on his credibility and just being such a humble human and a nice, kind person, and changing the way soccer operates in Canada. And he would never say that himself, but I can say that as his daughter. And that's what I aspire to do with my life. I want to create something that is going to impact the way that people operate and is going to make a positive change. There's a Steve Jobs quote that's like, I want to leave a ding in the universe. Like, that's my main goal. I want to leave like a little mark, a little positive, bright spot mark in the universe. And then my mom too, my mom worked, so she was an employee of a big cosmetics company for about 20 years. And she retired this year, and to see the legacy that she left there and left on people's lives, in making them be better and work harder and just like think outside the box and have the same kind of drive that she does. Those two things and those two people, my mom and my dad, are really the driving force of why I do what I do every day, because I hope to leave half the legacy that they both have in their lives.
Yeah. And I think that really shows, because like you said, you're not doing like sub for sub and like salesy tactics. Like you're genuinely like trying to help people and showing them like the right way to do it. And it's very like authentic and like,
thank you.
You have to put in the work, but like, here's how to do it. And like, that's one of the reasons that I always love like your courses and your videos, is because it's not like sneaky, it's not salesy, and like it's broken down really easy. And so if you're not watching Sunny's YouTube channel, then now's your chance to go subscribe because you definitely need to.
Thank you.
Just a little shout out there. So if you could go back to when you first started your business and tell yourself something for this road ahead, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, so much stuff. But I mean, the great thing is I have zero regrets. I have zero regrets because I know that every single step, mistake, failure, success, everything has led me to this exact moment. And I'm so grateful for where I'm at right now. And I'm so excited for the future. But I think one thing for sure is not to worry so much because I put in the work every day, and my work ethic is borderline insane. And I truly do believe, and I think I'm proof of it, that if you just do the work and are committed to doing better and being better every single day, you will get to where you want to go. And you don't need to know exactly where that is. I put a lot of pressure on myself at the beginning of my business too, to be like, this is my 5-year plan. This is my 10-year plan. And I'm like, life moves way too fast now to even know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
So it's more so, and this was a piece of advice that one of my biggest mentors gave me, was like, okay, where do you envision yourself 10 years from now? That doesn't mean you need to know what you're doing or how you're doing it, but like, how do you want to feel every day? When you wake up, and are you doing things solo, or do you have a team? Are you working from home? Are you in an office? Like, you don't need to know the exact specifics, but how do you envision living your day-to-day life, and how do you want to feel every day? And so I think that's another big thing. And probably, I say this all the time, but probably if I were to go back and change anything, I would have hired a team a lot sooner and figured out how to scale my business a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But again, doing things in the way that I did it, I kind of fell into it and it happened the way that it should have. So don't regret it. But I think that would have been a piece of advice I'd given myself in the beginning, is like, start thinking now about how you can kind of remove yourself from the day-to-day and just focus on the bigger picture of the business.
Yeah, that's super smart. I love that.
Thanks.
So you kind of already answered this next question, but I was going to say, if you were restarting your business tomorrow, what would you do differently?
Hire a team.
Hire a team.
Yeah.
How did you find Ayla? Like, how did you bring her on?
I always joke about this. I was like, she came from heaven. A storm brought her. So how I found Ayla was, and this is another example. I'm a big believer in like setting the intention and putting it out there, and it will come to you. And so I had wanted to hire somebody for a really long time, but I was scared out of my mind because I'd been doing things by myself for so long. And this is what I mean by kind of, if I could go back and tell myself something, I would have started to think about growing my business. And what I mean by that is I would have had systems and processes in place that she could easily sort of walk into. I did not have those things. We're still working on those things, which is fine. And I think it actually was a bonus because I knew how to do everything in my business at that point. Like, I was an expert at everything in my business, but you shouldn't be, because you can't do everything to the best of your ability if you're doing everything at once. So, so I wanted to hire somebody. I had put it out there. I had put out job postings, and just the applicants I was getting were not working for me. And I said to a friend of mine who runs a digital agency here in Vancouver, I was like, I'm looking for this kind of a person. And like, I kind of explained the attributes I was looking for. And she was like, I think I know the person. She just applied for a job with us. And I was like, no way. She's like, we're not going to hire her because she's not quite senior enough for the position, but she's really good. And she's like super smart, super driven, super organized. And I was like, okay, well, let me meet her. So it's the one and only interview I've ever done in my entire life. And it's like classic of our relationship. I met her at a Starbucks. I had just finished a workout class, and like, one hadn't showered that day. She was in sweatpants and no makeup, and like came in like all disheveled. And she was there like probably 20 minutes early, had her little notebook open, was dressed to perfection, and was so prepped. And that's a big key. If you want a job, be prepared and do your research on the person you're meeting with.
Yeah.
And we started chatting, and I was like, this is the girl. Like, and I remember telling her on that day, I was like, right now I can't hire you full time. And I actually hired her as an intern at first. And I think that that's something important to do, because that's how I started in every position I ever had, was internship, and unpaid internship, to see how bad you want it. And so she started as an unpaid intern, quickly moved that up part-time, and now she's full-time, which is incredible. But I remember telling her that day, I said, I want you to grow with me. I don't see this as a short-term gig. And I know that I can't give you what you deserve right now as far as like monetary compensation, but I will be your ride or die. I'm there to support you. Whatever you want to learn, I will invest in your education. And I still am committed to doing that. And I do think she's a unicorn in a lot of ways, but I think that it's a really big key that the people that work with you should know that you've got their back and they have your back, and you are a team. And so I never I have an aversion to kind of saying she works for me, because I feel like she works with me, and she is such a vital part of the business. And so, yeah, she's been with me for over a year now, which is crazy. And like, I can honestly say that we would not be at the place we are today without her. So
that's so awesome. Yeah. I kind of feel like I know Ayla, because I always see her on Snapchat and like Instagram, and then the group, and I'm like, I kind of feel like I know her, even though I don't.
It's true. You kind of probably do. She's going to be at the live event too in April, so everyone will actually get to meet her there, which will be great.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she kind of like, how did you start? Did she just do like small things, like updating social media, and then like now does everything?
Yeah, kind of like started with scheduling content and a little bit of community management. And it was really funny because, like I said, I'd never had an employee or anybody working with me. So letting go of like doing everything was a really big challenge for me. But I knew I had to, because I was burning out all the time. And so it was really funny. She started, and I think it was a week or 2 weeks after she started that I went to Europe for a speaking engagement, and I was going to speak at NATO. And I was like, can you handle like scheduling this stuff? And like, I was like so tentative. I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yes, like that's what I'm here for. And so I kind of, with everything we've done, have thrown her in the deep end, and she's figured out a way to swim. And a lot, like now we're at a place where she is my chief operations officer. She does all the operations. So like every course we build or program we're coming up with, she does all the back end, and she figures it out. Brandon works with me on Boss Video Branding, but for YouTube for Bosses, it was all Ayla. And she does the ads. She's doing all of those things now. So she's learned everything trial by fire, but I feel like I have too. And so we've just kind of like built a huge amount of knowledge in this space together and by learning as we go. And also we've invested a lot in courses, and we've learned from the pros at every aspect. And that's been hugely helpful for us.
That's so cool. Do you guys work together every single day, or does she work from home sometimes?
Well, that's another funny story. So when she first started working for me, she was living about 30 to 45 minutes away in the suburbs of Vancouver. And then she moved, and she ended up moving into my building, in my apartment building. So she's 5 floors down from me. So yeah, we see each other a lot.
That is super funny.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, let me just walk to work.
And that's why I swear to God, sometimes I'm like, is she an angel? Because like, how did this happen? It's just such a perfect situation. And then to add on top of that, her fiance, who lives with her, obviously, is my videographer and editor. Nice. So like, we're all like in the sunny
building.
It's so funny. But I mean, we don't work together every single day. She has days where she works completely on her own at her place, and I do too. And usually that's when we have like content to do, and big projects we need to focus on, because we both kind of need our space. And we have a funny relationship, because not only do we work together, but like she knows everything about my life, and like vice versa. And we are also very good friends. And so sometimes when we work together and like we're both not feeling super focused, we'll just start talking about everything else. So sometimes we're like, maybe you should go work down there and I'll work up here. Okay.
Maybe we should have some alone time.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Separate ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned that her fiance is your videographer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how you made the switch from like doing your own videos like webcam, and then I'm assuming you maybe had something in between, and now to this and like handing that off.
That was also a big commitment and change for me because I was so used to doing it by myself. And again, I'm so grateful I did, because I taught myself everything and like learned every little trick and tactic on my own. And then I can teach people what I did. Because I know that at the beginning, especially when you're like just starting out in business, you don't have the resources to hire somebody. But as soon as you do and you can outsource it, I highly recommend it. So I brought him on. It was almost a year into doing my channel, because I was still doing all my videos myself. And at first, Ayla started editing my videos. So I would shoot them, she would edit them. And then she was like, my boyfriend's a videographer, or my fiance's a videographer. And I was like, oh, okay. So then he started to edit them, and then he started to shoot them and edit them. And now he is everything behind the Sunny show. So we just did a shoot last night, and we have it down to a science. And like, I don't know if you saw my Snapchat last night, but I got so excited because one, he now has a team member that comes and works with him. So the team member does the visual, and then Jared does the audio. And we had like a monitor set up last night so I could see myself. I was like, this is so fancy. We're still shooting in my apartment, but like, it's so fancy. And yeah. And I'm so glad I made the switch, because it's freed up so much space to focus on the things that I'm really, really good at in my business. I can edit. I'm fine at it, but it's not my genius, and it's definitely his genius. And what he's done with like the visuals of how my videos look now, it's crazy to me. So yeah, I'm really grateful.
Love that. And you started on a webcam, and like those first few videos have like 80,000 or more probably.
One of them is close to 1 million, which is gnarly. Yeah. And I always say that, like, when you're starting out, everyone worries so much about the equipment. And I could probably say that like the equipment and like my set held me back from even trying to do video for about a year. Cause I was so concerned about it being perfect, and it paralyzed me. And so, I always tell people now, I'm like, I just started and I started because I didn't have the fear of people seeing. And I think that's a big thing is that when you think about all the people that are going to watch, if I knew, I say this too, if I knew 80,000 people were going to see that first video, I would have washed my hair first and foremost that day. And I probably wouldn't be wearing like basically pajamas. So I think taking that out of the equation and only focusing on the value of your content is what is the key to success. And so yeah, it's fine to start with a webcam or even your computer or even your phone and just get good quality content out there and optimize the out of your videos and get them ranked, build some authority, and then invest in the branding part of it.
Yeah, I started on my phone, and my first few videos, like I sat at my desk and like had a nice shirt on, but I am so awkward. Like I'm like so tense, and I'm like, and I used to do my videos, I would try and do them in one take, like the entire video.
No.
Yes. So I'd have to, like, it would take me forever. I remember one of it was like maybe my first video or one of my first like 5. And I sat in here and like, 3 hours later, finished recording, and then walked into the living room, and like, I was so like tired and like upset. Yeah. And my husband was like, how'd it go? And I'm like, that took entirely too long. Like,
it's so funny.
I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Like,
it's so funny you say that, because I sent out an email probably 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about my experience shooting my first YouTube video, and it took me 8 hours. And I didn't eat. I didn't eat all day. And I was like so worried about it being perfect. And I was like, now I look back, I'm like, how did it take 8 hours? Like, it was a 3-minute video. How does that happen? And it took me 8 hours. I didn't eat. I started crying at one point because I was so stressed out, and I was putting so much pressure on myself for it to be perfect. And the irony is that video was a vlog, and it got no views, like basically none. And then I did the video in my pajamas, unwashed hair, and it has 80,000 views. So that's a prime example that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the set or the lights or any of that stuff. As long as people can hear you and see you, that's fine. So use natural light, have your phone, be in a quiet space, deliver really, really good content, and that's what's going to help you on YouTube.
Yeah, because one of my awkward videos, as I affectionately call them, because I have several,
Yeah.
is one that I helped me get a client early on. And it was just because I was explaining some stuff really quickly. It was like a minute
Exactly.
video, and it was, like didn't matter. And even though I was super awkward, she was like, just seeing you on screen and like seeing your personality and like you're real,
Yeah,
like that helped. And I was like, even though I
totally.
was awkward.
And that's the funny thing too, is like the perception of how you see yourself versus how
Mm-hmm.
others see you is so different.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest hurdles is people are like, I'm awkward. I don't feel right on camera. I hate the sound of my voice. I hate the way I look on camera. And this is something it took a while for me to learn. And now I take it into every public speaking engagement I have too. Like, people do not care what you look like or you
Mm-mm.
sound like. People care about walking away and knowing how to do what they came there to do.
Yeah.
And so that's all that matters. If you can deliver on that, you will be the best in the world and people will love you. So
Yep.
it's not about you. And so I always say, I'm like, take you out of the equation and
Yeah.
take your ego out of the equation, because it's not about that. It's about how much you can help people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what else do you have coming up in 2017?
Well, we're launching Boss Video Branding very soon. I'm very excited about that. Round 2 of launching, and YouTube for Bosses will be back on sale again in April. I'm speaking a whole bunch. I'm going to speak to a bunch of tourism professionals this week, and then I'm speaking at Social Media Marketing World for the first time, which
Yay!
I'm so excited about. Excited but nervous. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited that we created a swag line and a store for Your Own Boss. I think it's
Yes.
cool, and I love the stuff. So, yeah, just all of the things. I'm excited
Yeah.
about all of the things. There's lots of cool stuff going on.
Awesome. So where can we connect with you, your YouTube channel, your store, all of that jazz?
So you can find everything at sunnylenarduzzi.com. There's a link to the store on the top right, and there's a link to everything else that I do under services. So you can find everything about me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.